Hello, everybody. This is Love from Above with your Sibling Spirit Guides. I'm Maureen, and this is my brother.
Brian, hi everyone.
Yeah, we're so happy to be here. And we are using this platform to share the information that we've received from star beings, ascended masters, and our ancestors. We've been channeling every day since this started, which was the fall equinox of 2023. So I'm going to turn it over to my brother to begin. So what's the lesson for this week, Bri?
All right. So going back and I found this lesson from a while back, but I'm calling this one Lessons from Above. So this entity came to us and they talked about this lessons. They had three different lessons they want to share with us. Um, so the first one is, and they said to know these lessons is to understand the greater good of the Indivisible One. So Indivisible One is the preferred manner in which we shall hail the one creator or God or source or whatever. So the first lesson um, is that love rules all, right? So um, our answers to any question comes with a response of a loving manner. So that's what they said. So of course this aligns with everything we know, and so um, I wanted to get your thoughts. I mean, this is exactly what we're all about. So, but what are your thoughts when you heard that first lesson, Maureen?
Well, I have two thoughts. One is I pull the tarot every day, and anytime I have a problem or a question, the card that I pull is the Ace of Cups, which means to fill yourself with love. So, I mean, that is literally the answer to any problem is become a vessel for love. And then the other aspect of that message that I'm really grateful for is that's really changed my life is so I'm the one channeling and bringing in this information, and not only do I receive this wisdom from wherever it's coming from, but I can also feel it. And so just to feel, just the immense love from these all these beings who are working with us, and they use such effusive language. I was listening to some old messages this morning when I was in the gym, and honestly, it's language that you know you wouldn't you wouldn't use with, like, I wouldn't use with my beloved brother. It's just so effusive, and they are so delighted with us and effusive with their love. Wouldn't you agree, Bri?
Yeah, it's interesting because yeah, I know you get to experience that, which is, I'm sure, very special. Um, but I know just listening to these on a daily basis, right? There is, I was going to ask you about this, that a lot of times they use some word that either is it just you don't know, or is just not in the English vernacular, or isn't that a common thing that occurs where they sometimes the words they're using don't even um, make sense to us, right?
Sometimes they use very big words that I don't know, and I consider myself to have a very expansive vocabulary. But honestly, these are words that I don't know. And yeah, do you remember we had this one group of beings who came through and they were using like these just huge words, and I was like, I don't understand anything that you're saying. And so they're like, well, we have to go, kind of like we have to go back to the drawing board,
Yeah,
and we'll be back.
yeah,
And they came back like 3 days later and they used like really short words. And I'm like, okay, now I can understand
yeah.
what you're saying. So yeah, it's really, really interesting. And this also started with just one group of beings who didn't have a name, but they told us to call them Aura. But since then, I mean, we've had, all of these different beings come in. We've had contact with the Watchers, this group called the Cedars. Just this week, we've had new group called, was it the Righteous Brothers of Ashuria, or I
Yeah.
don't even know,
There,
but
it's something I want to go back and document all the different. It's interesting. It's like we've got this um phone booth to the universe. They just different entities keep on coming in. And in fact, remember, well, we're getting off the path a little bit, but even today, there was two different people that came through, or two different entities, and then there was going to be a third, and then I think you weren't hearing anything, and they said they will come back a different time. But yeah, so it's sort of really interesting. But okay, let me continue with so that was back on our topic. So that was lesson one, and just remind everyone that was you know, so lesson one is love rules all. And then they said the second rule was all cellular structures divide and grow, which is what separates our forms from those of the indivisible one. So we look for this separation for assessing how we can serve the one creator and reuniting with the one. So I guess what they're saying there is every structure other than the creator has cells that divide, but the the creator has is only entity that is incapable of division or being divided. So um I mean we've heard that. I mean that also comes with the prime numbers. That was important how the prime numbers are similar to the one creator. What are your thoughts on that topic, Maureen?
yeah, again, two thoughts. One is it's very similar to the first messages that we had from Aura that was focused on prime numbers and which I love that, the indivisibility of the creator. But then the other aspect of that is that change is, I think as humans, we love to get in a routine and a habit and do things that it's very comforting for us to do the same thing over and over again. But change is literally part of our nature. Unless we are the one, the creator, the all, then change is, and if you think about that, Wayne Dyer is somebody who talks about that. He's like, even though I'm still called Maureen at 60 as I was at 14, but my body is, I don't look like I did at 14. I don't look like I did at 7. And so I took that message as an invitation to welcome change, to realize that change is part of my life and that I'm constantly changing and evolving, and that
Right, right.
when it's time for me to stop changing and evolving, it's time for me to return to the creator.
Yeah, that's a great point. All right. So then they go on in the third and final lesson they said is we must commit a daily practice to unite with the one, to clear what may have clogged our beings. So this is a practice where many humans are now relearning. And then I think you saw a vision and it was like crystals being placed on your body, or I'm not sure, but it's it's the daily practice that I don't know if it's a meditation or what were your thoughts on this one, Maureen?
Well, again, I do think it is that daily practice. And, originally with Aura, that was one of the first messages that they came through. And these beings are so loving, but they got a little bit strict with that one and just said it is required. It is required. And I pulled up from there, from that first message that we got with regards to that. Oh, it's not the first, but this was when I had stopped doing the meditation, or it skipped one day, and they said 10 minutes is required. You may continue to grow until 15 minutes, but after the body is charged, it's like continue to charge a fully charged cell phone. The discord that you feel is a result of not connecting to the one source of the planet, which you've neglected yet again. We remind you that this is of the utmost importance. That is all. So Yeah, I mean, that's not a big thing. 10 minutes of the day, and their directions, or his direction was to take a crystal, or if you don't have a crystal, to even a rock, and to go outside in nature and to imagine yourself connected to the planet, your channels wide open and connected to the heavens above, and to just literally be a vessel where everything can flow through you. And so, and I know you got admonished there for a while too when you
Yeah,
missed it.
yeah, I know. And I still, it's, um, I'm going back and forth from my home in Texas to the Midwest. When in the Midwest, when it's cold, it's tough being outside for 10 minutes. But I do try and do it. But yeah, I don't do it every day like I should. So, um, but yeah, it's funny how they can be, you know, come back and really remind us of these key things if we're not doing them. So they are keeping tabs on us. But it's all good. It's all good. One other thing, I'm going back to the first lesson. This was from a separate session, but I meant to mention this that I love this quote from a different session. But it says to activate more portals of love, the heart indeed must be wide open. The closed heart is a prescription for failure and calamity. The open heart knows only thriving success. So is that, I mean, that is a perfect summary of it, what's really critical to have an open heart. And um, I know it's not easy sometimes, but that's the key, I think. So what, I mean, I think we try to do that on a daily basis, right? But any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, that's a synchronicity for me. I was just re-listening to a book that Brian and I have read many times, but I think I'm going through for my third session, which is The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And he says kind of the same thing, is that, the only problems in your life come from closing your heart. And yet we all tend to do that. Something happens, whether it's a hurt word or an incident or occurrence, you tend to close your heart. But what he says is that you're actually like having all of that energy like stay in your body when you actually want it to pass through. It's literally, he says, it's literally like a physical thing. And it's like ingesting something, keeping something inside of you that you don't want. So so yeah, so here's my question for you. How is all of this, we've been doing this for a while, and with these lessons from today and other lessons, how has that changed your life?
Yeah, I mean, it's really it's interesting because we were doing a lot of these same things, but they've just pointed out different key aspects that make sure we're on the right track. And it's interesting how they've told us about different things that we're doing. That, like I said, that this nature thing, um, they've focused us on other things to learn about. So it's really been a really great learning process about learning new topics and things that come up. But a lot of it, to be honest, is stuff we already know, but it's, just maybe heard from a different way. But it's all been really good. I mean, I always look forward to the daily message. Some are, not as some are really doozies, and others, aren't aren't as much. We've got some topics that, but maybe we'll cover some of those. We have a couple of recent ones that we'll definitely have to cover in the future session. But yeah, so it's always interesting, So I always look forward to it, and it has really changed us, though. Definitely, it's definitely it was hard to envision how this was gonna, work when we got that first message from Toth, but it's been pretty amazing. So I've really enjoyed the ride. So How about
Yeah,
you?
and again, I think for me, it's just, so I travel the world as a nomad continually by myself. And a lot of times I'm in countries where, English isn't the, a language. So right now I'm in Mexico and my Spanish is decent, but, it's just, I don't know, it's so comforting to know that there really are all these beings around us. And I'm fortunate enough most nights to be able to see them. And I don't know, it just really, it makes me feel so supported and so loved and so cared for. That people will often ask because I travel solo. They're like, "Oh, don't you worry about your safety?" I'm like, "Nah, I don't worry about my safety. I've got my posse with me, I'm totally protected." So that's been the greatest gift for me. So
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up. But again, if you have any comments or questions, send us an email to lovefromabovepodcast@gmail.com altogether. And we'll keep this up on a weekly basis as much as we can. And any final, oh, you had a final saying or closing you wanted to cover, Maureen?
yeah, I was looking at some of the sayings that I save on my phone just as a remembrance. And the one that I thought that went with today's topic is that you're as rare as a precious jewel. Hear the applause. So again, very effusive language, but that
Love
is
it.
not normally used. And but just really feel that like you are as rare as a precious gem. And every one of us is, we all have our different gifts to bring to this planet and this universe. And I'm grateful for this opportunity to share these beautiful teachings with everyone.
Absolutely. All right. From the Sibling Spirit Guides, signing off till next time. This is Brian.
And Maureen, love you all.